Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Bowman, and today we're going to be looking at the idea of central angles and inscribed angles inside of a circle. So, central angles and inscribed. Scribed angles. Okay. So these are very related, but they are used in slightly different contexts. But if you learn what to look for, they're actually pretty easy to tell apart and use. So before we get in, we need to talk a little bit about this guy that's here as a circle. So when we are talking about a central angle and an inscribed angle, right? So the trick is look for where the angle is in terms of the circle, more specifically the vertex. So a central angle is when you have an angle like this, where the vertex is on the center, hence central angle. So when we're talking in terms of the circle here, we have 360 degrees all the way around and 360 degrees on kind of, we're thinking just barely around the middle of our point. So what I mean by that is, so we say this is, let's call this 70 degrees. Okay. Then all the way around here, there's 360 total, so this must be 290 degrees, right? So a total of 360. There's also 360 all the way around our circumference. So we're not worried about the measurements so far at this point. We're just thinking kind of ratio of the whole outside. So a central angle is going to cover an arc length here of that same thing. So the angle here in your, the smaller one, by the way, this is 290 if you want to think about it that way, but focusing on the smaller one is 70, so this piece has to be 70 degrees out of the whole 360 as well. The radius of the circle doesn't really play in yet until we're trying to measure an actual length here. So if we're using centimeters or meters or miles or something like that. So if we're just talking about the angle measurement, these are going to match. So central angles are always going to match. And you get two really, right? You get the 70 and then you get the 290 on the outside here. An inscribed angle, so if we put our center back down, an inscribed angle is when the vertex, instead of being on the center, is on the edge of the circle. So what if I have one like this? Okay. This would be an inscribed angle since it's all 3 points are on the outside, specifically the vertex. Okay, that's what distinguishes these. The endpoints are on the edge for both types, central and inscribed. But the vertex is the center or the edge of the circumference of our circle. So this, notice if I put a central one to the same points, this is a much bigger angle than this one, okay? And that's intentional. So if I call this 50 degrees, we know this is 50 degrees, right? Because it has to be matched. So what is this guy? It's obviously smaller than that. And it actually turns out to be exactly 1/2. Okay, so if I look at an inscribed angle like this, then it's always going to be half the arc, or the arc is going to be twice the angle, however you want to think about that. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're looking at here. So if I use one without a central angle, let's say look at this. I'm going to call this, let's see, 150 degrees maybe? Nope. That won't work, that's too big. We'll call this 70 degrees in here. So then how big is this one? So this is an inscribed angle since the vertex is on the outside. So this will be doubled. So this arc distance angle is 140 degrees, 70 times 2, right? And that's pretty much all there is to it. So if you're looking at central angles, they're going to match. If you have an inscribed angle, it's going to, the arc there, which is denoted as this. Okay, if we call this, okay, if I start labeling this just to see the notation, we have ABC, this major arc, because it's more than half the circle, or the measurement of AC. It's only got 2 letters. It'll be a minor arc, so it's less than half a circle. So the measure of arc AC would be 140 degrees. The measure of arc ABC, so that's everything that's not in that 140. So that's just a quick subtraction. 360 minus the 140 is 220 degrees. Okay. So that's hopefully enough to get you started. We will look at this on Thursday as well. But just if you want to try playing around with it a little bit early, that's what we're looking at.